Stop. Before you skip this video, I need you to hear one thing. The reason most men over 40 feel tired, sluggish, and like something is just off at night, it is not in their head. It is in their blood vessels. Specifically, it's a shortage of a molecule called nitric oxide, something your body made plenty of at 25, but has been quietly producing less and less of ever since. Here's what nobody tells you. You don't need go to anywhere. You need 5 specific foods chewed the right way at the right time. I'm Dr. James, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what those foods are and exactly how to use them. So, do not touch that back button, because the next 10 minutes could be the most important thing you watch all year for your health. Before we start countdown of the foods, I want you to understand why nitric oxide matters so much in our circulatory system, especially for men over 40. Nitric oxide is a molecule your body naturally produces inside the walls of your blood vessels. It acts like a signal, telling those vessels to relax and widen, a process called vasodilation, like a tiny pipe-wide more. When your vasodilation is working properly, your blood flows freely, your tissues get the oxygen and nutrients they need, and your endothelium, the inner lining of your arteries, stays healthy, flexible, and responsive. Now here is where it gets critical. As men age past 40, the body's natural ability to produce nitric oxide begins to decline. Studies in urological and cardiovascular medicine have consistently linked this decline to reduced penile blood flow, lower stamina, slower post-exercise recovery, and diminished tissue perfusion throughout the body. In plain English, less nitric oxide means less blood going where it needs to go. And that affects everything: your energy, your endurance, your intimate health, your heart. So, what do we do about it? Do we start with the simplest, most accessible tool available to us, food? And I promise you, food number 3 on this list is going to completely surprise you. You'll be like, wait, this is already in our fridge. Most men consume it regularly without ever realizing what it's actually doing or not doing to do for their vascular system. Keep watching till the end. Before I get into the foods, I want to share something that mirrors exactly what I hear from men every single week. A man named Marcus, 54 years old, shared his story online, and it stopped me in my tracks. He had spent nearly 2 years feeling like a completely different person, exhausted by mid-afternoon, struggling with what he described as a general flatness, noticing his endurance had quietly dropped in the gym, in his work, and in his personal life. He visited his doctor, he got his blood work done, everything came back normal. But Marcus knew something was wrong, so he started researching on his own. He came across the science of endothelial health and nitric oxide, and he made one deliberate change. He started incorporating specific foods into his daily routine, chewing them slowly and consistently in 6 weeks. He reported a shift he hadn't felt in years. More energy in the morning, better circulation, clearer thinking. He wrote, and I'm paraphrasing, "I feel like I'm finally getting back online. Now, I am not here to make medical promises. What I am here to do is give you the real science behind what Marcus discovered on his own, because the foods he stumbled upon are exactly the 5 we are covering today." And before we go any further, if this is already making sense to you, hit the like button right now and subscribe to Urology Education and Vitality. I make this content specifically for men who want real, science-backed information they can actually use in their daily lives. And I want to hear from you guys. Where in the world are you watching from right now? Drop your city, your sweet country, anything in the comments below, like your favorite emoji. I read every single one, and it genuinely means a lot to see how far this community reaches from 1 man to 1,000. Raw cacao bean. Alright. Food 1 is raw cacao, and I mean real raw cacao. Not a chocolate bar, not a liquid chocolate, not processed cocoa brown powder. Raw cacao beans and cacao nibs are extraordinarily rich in compounds called flavonoids, specifically epicatechin and catechin. These flavonoids have been studied extensively for their role in stimulating endothelial nitric oxide synthase, which is the enzyme your blood vessel walls use to actually manufacture nitric oxide. Just like when you blow air into a balloon and it stretches wide, the flavonoids found in cocoa beans tell your blood vessels to blow up and relax so blood can flow through easily. When you consume raw cacao, those flavonoids essentially activate that enzyme and send a direct signal to your endothelium to produce more of this critical molecule. Research published in Cardiovascular and Urological Medicine has shown measurable improvements in arterial flexibility and blood flow markers in men who consume cacao flavonoids consistently. Here is how: get the benefit. Take a small amount of raw cacao nibs or a whole cacao bean. Place it in your mouth and chew it slowly and deliberately for 2 to 3 full minutes before swallowing. Do not rush this. That chewing process activates enzymatic activity in your saliva that begins the absorption process before the food even reaches your stomach. And before you say that sounds like too much effort, this takes less time than scrolling your phone for 3 minutes. You can absolutely do this. Clove. Food number 2 is clove. And this one surprises people every single time I mention it. Clove is, gram for gram, one of the most antioxidant dense edible substances on the entire planet. The ORAC value, which measures antioxidant capacity, of clove surpasses nearly every other spice by an enormous margin. Why does that matter for nitric oxide? Because nitric oxide is extremely vulnerable to a process called oxidative degradation. Reactive oxygen species, essentially cellular rust, break down nitric oxide in your bloodstream before it can do its job. The polyphenols in clove act as powerful antioxidant shields, protecting your nitric oxide molecules from being destroyed too quickly. Here is a simple way to think about it. Your body is producing nitric oxide, but without antioxidant protection, it's like filling a bucket that has holes in the bottom. Clove plugs those holes. Beyond that, clove has also demonstrated microcirculatory benefits, actively supporting blood flow in the smaller, finer vessels of the body, which is critically important for urological tissue health and penile perfusion. The method is simple. Take 1 or 2 whole dried cloves, place them in your mouth, and chew them very slowly for 2 to 3 minutes. Yes, the flavor is bold. Yes, it is intense. But your endothelium will benefit every single time, and as a completely free bonus, your breath will be absolutely immaculate. We still have 3 foods left, and food number 4 has been used specifically for male vascular health in traditional medicine for well over 1,000 years. And modern urological research is now validating exactly why. Do not go anywhere. Pomegranate. Food number 3 is pomegranate, and this is the one that surprises men the most. Most people associate pomegranate with antioxidant juices or women's health products. But the urological research specifically on pomegranate is genuinely remarkable. Pomegranate is densely packed with polyphenols and anthocyanins that work through 2 distinct and powerful mechanisms. First, they upregulate nitric oxide production in the endothelium, similar to what the cacao flavonoids do. Second, and this is what makes pomegranate uniquely powerful, they reduce the activity of an enzyme called arginase, which is the enzyme responsible for breaking down L-arginine, the amino acid your body uses as the primary raw material to manufacture nitric oxide. So, pomegranate is simultaneously increasing production and slowing destruction. Researchers in the field of urological and vascular health have referred to this as a dual action effect on the nitric oxide pathway. To maximize the benefit, eat fresh pomegranate seeds, what we call arils, and chew them slowly and deliberately for 2 to 3 full minutes. Do not simply swallow them quickly. The deliberate chewing ensures maximum contact between those polyphenols and the mucosal tissue in your mouth, where some of the absorption process begins immediately. Amla food number 4 is amla, also known as Indian gooseberry, and this is the food I mentioned that has centuries of documented use specifically for male vitality and vascular function. Modern science is now catching up to what traditional practitioners observed long ago. Amla contains one of the highest natural concentrations of vitamin C found in any known food source. Why does vitamin C matter specifically for nitric oxide? Because vitamin C directly neutralizes superoxide, one of the most aggressive reactive oxygen species responsible for destroying nitric oxide in your bloodstream. It acts essentially as a dedicated bodyguard for the nitric oxide molecule. Beyond vitamin C, amla contains tannins and additional polyphenolic compounds that have demonstrated measurable vasodilatory effects in clinical and laboratory studies. In urological contexts, improved vasodilation in the penile vasculature directly supports erectile tissue oxygenation and overall urological function. You can find amla at most South Asian grocery stores in fresh or dried form. Chew fresh slices or dried amla slowly and deliberately for 2 to 3 minutes. The flavor is tart, astringent, and earthy, but what it does for your endothelial health is genuinely worth it. Blueberry, and food number 5 is one you almost certainly already have in your home, blueberries. And I want you to stop underestimating this small, ordinary-looking fruit. Blueberries contain a powerful class of antioxidants, including pterostilbene, resveratrol, and dense anthocyanin compounds that have shown in multiple peer-reviewed studies to directly reduce endothelial inflammation, improve arterial compliance, and promote nitric oxide bioavailability. For men over 40, endothelial inflammation is one of the primary drivers of declining vascular health. The arteries gradually stiffen, blood pressure climbs, and tissue perfusion, including to urological organs, slowly decreases over time. Blueberries combat that inflammatory process at the cellular level. They also support healthy platelet function, which further improves blood flow dynamics throughout the entire vascular system. Eat them raw and chew deliberately. Take 2 to 3 full minutes with a small portion, allowing maximum flavonoid contact with your oral tissues and optimal enzymatic activation before swallowing. This is not complicated, this is just intentional conscious eating. And it makes a real difference. Here is what I want you to carry with you after this video. Your body has not given up on you. Your vascular system, your endothelium, your nitric oxide production, all of it actively responds to what you choose to put into it. The 5 foods we covered today, raw cacao, clove, pomegranate, amla, and blueberries, are not miracle cures. They are tools, simple, affordable, accessible tools that support the exact biology your body already knows how to run. The key is consistency and intention. Chew slowly, stay with it, and remember, Marcus did not take a single supplement. He did not buy anything. He simply started paying close attention to what he put in his mouth and how he consumed it. You have everything you need to do the same thing starting today. If this video gave you value, please share it with a man over 40 in your life who needs to hear this. Subscribe so you never miss content made specifically for your health. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 foods are you starting with? I want to know. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your qualified healthcare provider or urologist before making any changes to your diet or health routine, particularly if you have existing medical conditions or are currently taking medication. Now, before you leave, there is one more video on this screen I need you to watch right now. It builds directly on everything we just covered, and the men who watch it consistently tell me it's one of the most genuinely useful things they've ever seen on this channel. It is right there on your screen. Watch it. Your body will thank you for it.